Have you ever met someone who gives you the creeps, but you don't instinctively run away from them? Then you've met someone just like this man, Indrid Cold. Well, what are you trying to tell me, Mr. Cold? I said as I reared up, feigning giving him my full attention.
Just that as I demonstrated, I observe things more than most here, and that the operator of this train enjoys his drinks as much as often as he works. When those two intersect, there will be calamity, unless someone comes between them.
So, are you a co-worker, his barkeep, or some psychic? I really meant to say psycho.
I'm afraid not, Mr. Kolchak. You see, I'm not really from around here, just a tourist. But I encountered him enjoying strong refreshments before he started his shift on the train, and nobody seems concerned with the safety of such actions. So I thought I would share it with you, an investigator, to see if you can stop the inevitable from happening.
Definitely a psycho. Oh, you saw him drinking and think he's too drunk to operate the train. Well, that may be something I'll look into. Sounds pretty solid, all right. It might be worth taking the wrong stop just to get away from this nut.
Actually, this is where I exit, Mr. Kolchak, at the State Lake Street platform. While it still stops for it, I wouldn't want to miss the show.
Oh, darn. And it was just getting interesting. So long.
I'll try to give you better answers the next time we meet. For now, I can only tell you that the operator's name is Martin Stefan, and it's not his first time either.
The train had stopped at his platform. He rose and sauntered out the door like he was examining a new car. I was happy to be out of that weirdo socializing. Tourist? He looked more like a well-dressed doorman for one of those Mooney cults. I'll keep plenty of distance between him and me if I see him coming. I went back to thinking of my own dilemma, but it was hard to clear all that spooky stuff from my mind. At my stop, I went out the front exit, giving the operator a look, just for curiosity. Looked fine, couldn't smell anything on him. But his name badge did say Martin Stefan. I stepped down from the platform, crossed the street, went inside, up the stairs, and into the stuffy offices of the Independent News Service. Seeing the bullpen of usual suspects, I said, "Greetings, slaves," hoping they could use the laugh. Ron just gave me a smile, busy working on his own piece of society dribble.
Miss Emily said, "Hello, Carl. I took a couple of calls for you. More reports of seeing that Birdman."
"No, Emily. Mothman. Mothman. Thank you, dear. Just leave them on my desk. I've got to go do some developing first." 30 minutes later, and smelly chemicals produced images that would make Bigfoot proud. Another 30 spent typing up a story that I'll have to make up for the pictures. But I got interrupted when my then boss, Anthony Vincenzo, decided it was time to see what I had. "Hello, Carl. So, what do you have for me today? Something pertinent? Newsworthy? Something we can send out?" Before I can say, "It's not ready yet," he pulls it and begins reading. "Oh, Carl. This stuff again? Commuters were nearly attacked by a winged creature buzzing the L train earlier. What, they hit the bars early today?" "No, Tony, I saw it and took pictures of it." "Pictures? Let me see." "Well, they didn't develop very well." "Let me see." I handed them over. He looked through the 3 glossies and then started laughing like a madman. "Ha ha ha ha! Kolchak! I've seen better pictures on a Rorschach test. No, this is not a story. But Tony, Kolchak, you better have a story or you're going to look like these pictures when I'm done with you." "Well, I may have a story about an unsafe train operator. Possible union issue. L-train operator. Really? What's the source, Carl? Oh, I'm still doing the legwork on that while I was covering on this story. As of right now, you're working on this and this alone. You hear me, Carl? I want something on my desk tomorrow. Either that story or your head. I looked at him and said, You know, Tony, I love it how your yelling brings out the blue in your eyes. Out! Well, now I've done it. Caught flat-footed by Tony, I blurted out the only thing I could think of. Now I have to try and find a story from a kook on a train. So I started asking around, checking official records for prior incidents on his route, insurance claims, other operators. Item: there is no more secret an organization, short of the CIA, than a city transportation union. And while they and their union were impenetrable to my inquiries, it seemed the Chicago Transit Authority was not. And, for the right bribe, members of the CTA would sing like they were on the radio. It turns out that Stefan has had several safety violations in the last 4 years. Things like reading while operating, distracted talking to customers, even leading him to slow roll into another train once. And while I couldn't get anything in writing, he also failed 2 random drug-alcohol tests. Normally, that would cost him his city license, but nothing happened with him. Why? There may actually be a story here, but not about Rex, but corruption. As the sun was setting, I decided to head back to the office and start writing a proof of the story to show Vincenzo he's getting his money's worth. On my way to the L, I was crossed by a shadow overhead, and I heard loud flapping sounds. I looked up just in time to see one of those things swoop into a dark alley. I quickly ran around the corner, fumbling with my camera, this time making sure the settings were right. Looking around, I can no longer see the Mothman, but I see Guy Smiley, our friend, Mr. Cold. He was exiting the shop, turning away from me, walking down and around another corner, out of sight. That was close, I thought. Then again, he did say next time he'd have more answers for me. Maybe he works for the insurance company. Is that how he knew about Stefan's priors? I need to know more about him, and what he knows. Darn it. So I started off in his direction down the street. As I walked in front of the shop he came from, I could see a strange blue glowing light coming from inside. Curiosity got to me, so I looked and opened the door. Inside was a large, glowing blue object, about 8 feet tall and as long as a truck. I could hear a low humming sound, and the air around it felt slightly charged, and on the front it looked like there was some access door. It was darker, but I could put my hand through it. So I walked inside. It felt cooler, like it was air-conditioned or something. Once I fully entered the blue box, the inside was somehow larger, and it all lit up. I could see energy coursing through the walls of whatever it was. It wasn't so much of a room as it was a hallway, without any objects or markings at all. At the other end was another translucent access doorway, this time a lighter color. Again, my hand felt nothing when I stuck it in, so I held my breath and walked through. When I came through the other side, I was amazed. I was someplace, somewhere else. Really, I was standing on the edge of a violet-colored cliff, overlooking a valley of strange buildings, shapes, and features. The cliffsides were sprinkled with glowing blue gems that twinkled as if they were a marquee light. The sky was a dark blue, full of constellations, meteorites, a huge moon at one horizon, and a ringed planet that covered a quarter of the other. The thing I walked through was the same and still behind me, but it was the only recognizable thing that I saw. Instinctively, I started taking pictures of everything. Even the air itself tasted like cotton candy. Carl, you are no longer on Earth.
Quite correct, Mr. Kolchak. Yet also very wrong as well.
I turned around, and with that voice came the entrance of Mr. Indrid Cold from the access way.
You see, this is not your Earth, it is mine. Welcome to Lanulos.